Hi once again. This is Kevin McManus with Great Systems. How do you enforce the rules in your organization? What percent of the time do you use discipline when someone breaks the rules? Do you think discipline and enforcement are the same thing? If you look in the dictionary, they're not. I created the enforcement matrix to help leaders better understand their options when it comes to enforcing the rules. This matrix can also be used to explore where you're currently at from a rule enforcement strategy perspective and help you create plans for where you would like to go. Please enjoy this presentation clip on the enforcement matrix, and if you have questions, please send me an email at kevin@greatsystems.com. I'd also appreciate you connecting with me on LinkedIn. Have a super day and keep improving.
This is the central tool to this talk. This came about in about the last 5 years. And I started thinking about enforcement. I saw most people thinking enforcement is a negative thing and it's usually a formal thing. And I said, really, it's not. Enforcement is 4 dimensions. There are positive elements, negative elements. There's also formal and informal elements. And this is a great little test to play with your leadership team. Have them put percentages in each of the quadrants that represent the percent of time they use that enforcement approach. You can only use 100% total. If you're putting a 50 down here in this bottom right quadrant, you only have another 50 to spread amongst the other 3. And often the people that are putting 50 in that bottom right quadrant, a big chunk of the remainder is going over in the negative informal. They just may not recognize it. Which do you think is more damaging to organizational performance? The informal negative or the formal negative? Informal. How often do you think we know if the degree to which the informal is going on? We don't usually know, do we? It goes on every single day. And even the supervisors or managers that are displaying those behaviors often don't realize they are. They may not realize that the comments they make or even the looks on their faces are sending negative messages to folks because they're only behaving like they have been taught. How many of you work in organizations where you actually try to teach leaders how to give positive, daily, meaningful, consistent feedback? Bree shaking her head. Look, Air Liquide. You folks do it, Saudi Aramco. Okay, I can't read that far, but U.S. Pipelines. Right? And that's the way that you really get the leverage. That's where the power is in this positive informal. The leadership index tool that's in this slide deck is what FedEx used to help get to that point. It's a bottom-up survey. It's got some pretty tight guidelines, and it does work. So it is a usable tool, and I give you a lot more details about that tool than are in the slide deck if you're interested. Just shoot me an email and I can connect you to some other links and some other materials of mine that can show you how to use that tool. Usually it's part of the annual survey. Some people I know only do a survey every other year because things don't change often enough if you do it annually. No, the numbers don't shift too much if we do it annually, so we've started doing it just every other year. That's a tell in itself, right? Because the great companies really expect quarter over quarter change. They may not be surveying everybody, but they're doing spot checks.
Hello once again. Thank you for taking the time to watch that video clip. It meant a whole lot for me to be able to bring it to you. Please connect with me on LinkedIn, and if you have any questions, visit the website at www.greatsystems.com or shoot me a message via kevin@greatsystems.com. Over my career, I've had a chance to learn about a lot of best practices, and I'd really like to share them with you. Have a great day and keep improving.